Hey everybody, so let's take a look at projects in Max. Projects in Max are a great way to keep your files organized, make sure you have everything in one place, and Max handles most of the file management in projects for you. So you go into Max, and notice that Max does not necessarily have a window open in order to be running, but you can tell you're in Max because the word Max is here in the upper left. And so we'll say New Project. And when you create a new project, it asks you to save that project somewhere, and you decide where you want to save it and call it, I'll call this project. And this is project, and right now it has no files in it. To add a new file to the project, you hit the plus and you say add new file. And again, it asks you where to save it. And you can just save it into your project folder. So we'll call this patch 1. So if we go and look at our project folder, Max has created this patchers folder and put patch 1 into it. That's not where I saved it, but because I added this to the project, Max automatically knew that it should be moved into the patchers folder. So let's add some media to our project. Here's some textures. And I can just drag them right into my project from a Finder window. When I go and I look at the project folder, they're not there, right? Max has not actually moved them to the project folder until I say consolidate. When I say consolidate, now when I look at my project folder again, there's a media folder and there's a copy that's been moved into my media folder. So you don't have to mess with anything in your project folder. Max moves all the files around by itself. Now let's say you either intentionally or accidentally make a patcher that's not part of your project. And you save it somewhere. Now, even if I save it into the project folder, I'll say this is patch 2. I save it. It's saved into my project folder, but it's not part of my project, right? So it's actually in my project folder. There it is, patch2.maxpat, right? But it's not in my project until I put it into my project. And then see what Max does? It automatically moves it into the patchers folder. So Max handles the file management inside your project folder for you. Now, let's say I put something into my project folder like this image. Right, I put this into my project folder, and same thing applies. It's not in my project, it's just in my project folder. So even though it's in my project folder, to get it into my project, I have to explicitly drag it into my project. And then again, Max does its magic and moves that file automatically into the media folder. It knows I put it in my project folder, it moves it automatically into the media folder. Now, how can you break a project? The easiest way to break a project is, I'm going to close this project for a minute, is to change the name of the enclosing folder. So if I change the name of this to John's project, and I try to open it, no project window pops up because the enclosing folder name has to match the MaxProj file name. So if I change my folder name to John_project, and I change my MaxProj file name to John_project, now my project opens up again. So the important thing to understand about a MaxProj file is this is all that's in a MaxProj file, an index of the files that are in the project. There's no actual media or Max patches in the MaxProj file. The MaxProj file is just an index so you can get to everything easily. It's not the work itself. The work itself is here, the MaxPat files in your patchers folder. So let's say my project folder gets really messed up. And this is one of the great things about projects and one of the strengths of Macs. Let's say my project folder gets the wrong name and all the files from my media folder go out of my media folder, and all of the files in my patchers folder are outside my patchers folder, and my patcher and media folders are gone. I've just got this project full of mess, and it won't open properly, and nothing's happening. So the first way to debug this is to change your folder name to match your MaxProj name, or the other way around, change your MaxProj name to match the folder name. So now that the project file and the folder are both called John 2, watch what happens. As soon as I open up my project, boom, Max has totally rebuilt the project folder. It's put the patchers in the patchers folder, it's put the media in the media folder, and depending on what's in your folder, it can organize them into several other types of folders. So that's really the nice thing about projects, is they're very hard to break. Even if you mess them up entirely, you can still restore them fairly easily by following those steps. So let's look at putting some other file types into our project folder. We can take OBJ files, which are model files, and drag them into our project. As soon as we consolidate, we see that the file has been copied to the folder. Now, if we try to add something like a hipnc to the project, which is not a Max file, it's a Houdini file, it will add it in the other category. And this is a nice way to keep projects organized, even with files that don't have anything to do with Max. We can consolidate, and when we look at our Max project folder, we'll just see Max has created an other folder and stuck a copy of our hipnc in there. And that's really nice. That allows you to keep related files together in your project, even if they're not Max files.